Wanderers Show.
Welcome along to Season 2, Episode 4. I have to confess, I had to check.
He did, he's forgotten already.
Last season I got up to 6 and then stopped counting.
Yeah, this is just going to go all the time now, isn't it?
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. Still think when you and I are 95 and we're still doing the show, you're going to be saying, welcome along to Season 36, Episode 10 of the Wycombe
But I might not
Show.
be able to remember by then.
No, that's true.
I might be very confused.
Well, because we probably won't be on air by then, but we'll just be pretending to do the show in the home that we're both in.
Rocking backwards and forwards.
Indeed, yes.
With the same music.
Everybody will take that as their cue to leave and go to bed, and it'll just be you and I in the recreation room on our rocking chairs.
This isn't how we planned to start the show, is it?
This show is about football. It's not really. It's about all sorts of things.
Absolutely, the stuff we cover.
Indeed. What are we covering today? So
we've got a lot to fit in.
We have, actually. Wycombe's win against Lincoln. We will be hearing from Sam Vokes and also Gareth Ainsworth, and also Mr. Ainsworth and Tjay Barr after the victory over Stevenage.
It's a lot to create. Just that alone is a lot to have happened since we last on air.
Yes, and a few Spanish bits as well.
Yes, looking forward to that. From Gibraltar.
The Wycombe Wanderers worldwide phenomenon, which I have trouble saying. I don't know why.
You said that excellently.
Did I?
I must say.
I sort of said it slowly, though.
Oh,
that's talking of worldwide phenomenon as well. And we're going overseas today.
We'll be hearing from Michael Shevlane, who's from Denver, Colorado, USA.
Indeed.
Who's a few years ago wrote an anthem, or updated an anthem for the club, and he got in touch with us. You might have heard us mention him a couple of weeks ago, and said how good it was that we were back for Season 2. He didn't mention the episode numbers, but I can do that, that's right. I can keep tally. So we'll be chatting to him, and also we'll be hearing from Colin Bunting, who is a former Wycombe Wanderers goalkeeper from the late 50s / mid 60s, and a keen pigeon racer.
Does he put his pigeons in little Wycombe Wanderers kits?
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
That would be good, wouldn't it?
That would lead on nicely from our recent dog league.
Indeed, it would.
Well.
Yeah, you know, I know that they're looking to do more merchandise, a whole animal themed
pigeon kits,
possibly even a whole separate shop.
Oh yes,
you know, a bit like you get separate shops for things. Like I was in Wycombe Town Centre the other day and noticed that, you know, you've got Skechers now, and then on a different shop, and it hasn't opened yet, but it says Skechers Sports, as if they're going to put some trainers in that one. Well, we could have the same at Adams Park. We could have the general Wycombe Wanderers for humans shop, and then you could have Wycombe Wanderers for animals shop.
Right. They'll be pleased for the mention, but I hate to burst your bubble, but I think that's just an advert for Skechers in a vacant shop.
Oh, is it?
I think
okay.
so.
Oh, I thought there was. I thought
different styles of shoe shop.
Our advertising of Skechers had gone so well that they were opening a second store in the Eden.
Skechers women as well. There'll be another one.
Definitely Skechers kids.
Yeah.
Other shoes are available. Apparently.
Yeah. No, most of that opening wasn't planned, as you can probably tell.
No.
But we have much to get through this week. So let's crack on. And all comparatively recently in history, we have a good record against Lincoln, and that continues.
That's true. We do indeed, and we now have our best start ever to a League One campaign after our 1-0 victory over Lincoln on Saturday.
The winning continues.
Indeed, absolutely, and we are doing better than we were in the promotion-winning season 2 years ago. So that that is all good. Obviously, we're going to have a tough time this weekend against Sunderland, which is never an easy place to go, and they are currently 5th and just 1 point below us. But even so, the win against Lincoln very, very welcome. Michael Appleton's side always, he organises his teams very well, so we had to be at our best.
Very well said indeed. It's like you're part of the coaching team there with your coaching top on, I see.
Proud of the lads.
And Gareth spoke to Matt after the game, after, as you've heard, a pretty solid start to the season.
We put a tactical plan in place. Probably it was quite plain to see at times, the energy levels I wanted from the boys, the pressing. I'm not giving too much away, but the way we wanted to press them. I thought for 10 minutes we absolutely dominated, really did. And then they come back into it. They're a good side. Lincoln City are a good side with a good manager, play some real good possession football. And we knew that, and we knew that we had to step on that, and we had to try and impose our game's style a little bit. We did that first 8 minutes, 1-0 up. It was a dream, it's a fantastic ball from Jordan, but Gareth McCleary makes an unbelievable run to open the space up, and that's what Sam Vokes was brought in to do, and I told him when he signed, you'll get crosses, you'll get balls in the right areas, and I'm glad that's paying off, because he's a top striker. We've got a lot of top strikers here, but he's finished that really well today. And then believe me, it was tough. It was. I think we've got to great shout for a penalty at some stage. The referees are letting a lot go now, and the advantage seems to be, it's a tough job in the middle. I wouldn't want to do it, but they play plenty of advantage, and our fans are paying for blood, and their fans are paying for blood from the referee. But it was a hard-fought 1-0 victory. Believe me, Lincoln had their chances. David Stockdale had to make an unbelievable save, just the right place, right time. That's what he's paid for, but he's at his best at the moment. I'm really proud of the efforts and the energies of the boys. I'm going to have to recover from that one. We worked on it hard all week. Thought we could have maybe added 1 or 2 more goals to us, some last-ditch defending, great last-ditch blocks and tackles, and we hit the post, and so there was chances to put it to bed, but a 1-0 is as good as anything, and I'll take that.
You've called it a solid start. A couple of years ago, I think we had 8 points at this stage. We'd have said it was a wonderful start at that point. I think that shows expectations and standards are rising. Do you feel there's more to come from this side? Yeah, definitely, because we've got Tafazoli, Gape, Wheeler, McCarthy, all injured at the moment, and on the bench, what I've got is great. I spoke to Adebayo, I confirmed yesterday, and said, look, we're playing a certain style today, but if we're winning, you might not get on. Anyway, Gaffer, as long as we win, that's all I care about. And so he's now totally behind that sort of, he's almost coaching the boys to do it as well. So we've got the real good pieces in this jigsaw, and listen, we're gonna have upsets, of course, but we're gonna get little knockbacks, and it's how we react to that. But I just want to credit, the fans. They were brilliant today. The courage for letting me get the depth of squad I've got, because we need it. Nick Freeman's picked up an injury today after a nasty tackle, and I think he's going to be out now. That defence seems to be cursed at the moment, but as I say, we're getting some back from the treatment room. Really proud of that, and don't think anything else, but that was a fantastic win against what is a good Lincoln City side. Michael's a great manager, as I say, and he'll have them right up there, believe me. Some good players in that team. But today, I'm pleased that what we worked on has paid off.
It was a really good performance against Lincoln.
It was, indeed. And great that, that actually, in the end, despite some fairly awful refereeing, why do we always get such bad referees? And we now know that also it's not, it's not a league thing, because we had some fairly awful referees last season as well. But despite the referees, actually it was fairly comfortable in the end.
And pleasing for Sam Vokes as well.
It was indeed, yes. He spoke to Ryan, who's the new member of the media team, after the game.
2 goals in 3 games. You're getting some good goal-scoring form early on in the season, aren't you?
Yeah, it's good. It feels good. It was nice to get that one early today. It was always going to be a tough afternoon here against the strong Lincoln side. So to get that goal in the first couple of minutes and set a little down was good.
And obviously your first goal here at Adams Park, that must have been some feeling.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling. Great atmosphere again from the fans, and to get that goal and get the win in the end was important. And like I say, to get that first one and off the mark at home was nice.
And obviously Lincoln were a tough battle towards the end, and you could have had 2 towards the end as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there was a few moments, and I think it shows the strength of the squad we've got to dig in there at the end. It was some tough chances, and I think the referee was made it a bit harder today for us, but that is what it is. And no, they were strong, but showed resilience in the lads, I think, to fight at the end.
I think it's fair to say you've had a tough time at stake, but we're seeing you here in form. Are we seeing the best of Sam Vokes, do you think?
I hope so, yeah. That was my first 90 minutes for a long time, so for me it's about building up on that and getting the confidence back. Always helps, scoring a few goals, and hopefully I can chip in with a few more games soon.
And obviously Jordan Mbita with a great assist for you today, and the likes of Mehmeti, Sully Kai also providing an assist. It must be a striker's dream, really.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Just thank Jordan in there. We talked about it before the game, and he stuck it out to the back stick, which is always nice. And like you say, the strength we've got going forward in those attacking positions now is, for me, fantastic to play alongside. I think the strength we've got in the squad now, and you see coming off the bench, like you say, we've got some great talent, and hopefully that can improve even more.
And David Stockdale made some great saves towards the end, and you continue your unbeaten start.
No, it is, and Stockdale done brilliant, and for us, obviously, look, I got the goal, but I think those moments when Stockdale pulls out the saves are match-winning moments as well, and that shows what we are as a squad. We had to dig in at the end and fight in our own 18-yard box, and they're the moments that get you the win as well.
As you say, fantastic to maintain that unbeaten run, and ideal preparation for the League Cup on Tuesday night.
Indeed it was, yes. And so we travelled to the to Broadhall Way, as I always think of it, though now I think it's known as the Lamex, to face Stevenage, not Barr.
No, good point. Well made. Yes, and again, it wasn't straightforward.
No, it wasn't particularly straightforward. So a change side as well, including 2 debutants for Wycombe. So Max Ram, who is a player, not a USB stick, was in the defence. And we also had Tjay as well, who ended up being the hero.
Yes, absolutely, and a different goalkeeper as well.
Indeed, yes. I'm going to forget his first name now. Adam Presbeck.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, was in goal for us, replacing David Stockdale, who of course was the hero of the last League Cup tie. So I was slightly surprised by that one.
No, definitely.
But at the same time, if you're going to have sort of like second and third place goalkeepers, if the second place goalkeeper can't play in maybe games like the League Cup game, and I would imagine that we'll see him on Tuesday night when we face Aston Villa in the Checkatrade Leyland Daff, whatever it's called, cup.
Papa John's.
That's it. Yes. Then why sort of are you going to have them?
Definitely.
So it was good to see that he was playing as well.
Really pleasing for Tjay as well. He got the goal which took it to penalties and then scored the winning penalty.
It did. I mean, it did look like we were going out, really, didn't it? As we headed into 8 minutes of injury time, and Tjay popping up in the 4th minute of injury time, heading home to ensure that the tie went to penalties.
We'll hear from the Gibraltar hero in a few moments' time, but first, here's Gareth speaking to Matt afterwards.
We've learned a lot. I've given 3 full debuts tonight, so Max Ram obviously never played in a first team ever, played at right centre half but started cramping up big time. He knows he's learnt a lot tonight of what it's going to take to be a professional footballer and play in a first team. Adam Presbeck, going in goal, I thought didn't do much wrong at all. Thought he did really well. He's going to be an asset to us. And Tjay Barr, obviously, he makes his debut to it, and what a debut that is for him. He's only young. Never played in the English leagues, but he's made an impact tonight. Scored a goal, scored the winning penalty. I have to say, Stevenage were better than us second half. I may have got a change wrong there, taking Adebayo off when Max is cramping up, but Saturday is very important to me as well, and the league, and getting no injuries tonight was really important, and we haven't got any injuries tonight. We've had Andre Burley's, it's only his 2nd game. Ollie Pendlebury, that's only his 3rd game, I think, or 4th game. So, we're very young, and then you spatter that with JJ and Sule and Anis and Akinfenwa, and again, Bale was only due to play limited minutes, Tafazoli only 45, Anthony Stewart only 45, so it's difficult when you've got changes planned to keep things together, but I thought we were better first half. I thought Stevenage were better second half, without a doubt. They've really tested us, and they've got some good players here. Alex has done a great job in his recruitment, and you can see the culture they've got, and it's tough for them to lose it on penalties. But we'll take that, as we usually do in the League Cup. Still not won a game in 90 minutes in the League Cup, in 10 years as manager. But we seem to be in the 3rd round now, and that's really pleasing. But I'll have to say we've got to be better than we were second half. They were powerful, and Norris comes on, an experienced pro, and probably the balance tipped a little bit then. And then when I end up putting Horgan on, and he sort of is an experienced international for us. But no, we were bare bones at the end, so I'm really pleased, because that's quite a tough situation, penalties, and to score all 5, I was really pleased with the lads. I had another little team talk with them, and give them the old power is better than placement, and I'm glad they all did it.
Tell us a bit more about Tjay Barr. Back in the old days, of your early days of management, I'm not sure your scouting network extended to Gibraltar, but a young man's come in, he scored and he's had to be patient for his chance, hasn't he? He's been on the bench a few times and not come on, but he's taken his chance.
We criticise agents in the game quite a bit, but I played with TJ's agent, and he gave me a call. I played with him back at Cambridge. He gave me a call and said, look, I've got an absolute wild card for you. Tjay Barr, nobody had ever heard of him, and as usual I passed the young ones on to Sam Grace, so Sam deserves some credit again, like he does with Anis and Andre and Max and all these players. So Sam said to me, he looks alright, this kid, he looks quite decent, and he played 24 times for Gibraltar against Holland and against Belgium, and he's played some top teams, but he's never really been tested at club level. So bringing him in, it's a learning process for him, but he always seems to be in the right place in training and game, and you've seen tonight, he's on the end of that cross, which probably half a dozen strikers wouldn't read. He's ready, he wants to score. The lads are calling him the Gibraltar Tevez, because the way he runs about and looks. If he can get anything near Tevez, I'll be well happy, but I'm really proud of him tonight, because he's waited his chance. I actually pulled him last week and said, Tjay, you're not in the squad because I need to cover a defender, and he said to me, no explanation needed, Gaffer, I love being here. That's enough for me, and I can work with that, and I'm so glad that he's scored his goal, and Wycombe will probably make the Gibraltar press tomorrow as well, so that's another positive. But no, the night belongs to him, but I must credit Stevenage Borough. they're a very good side, and I think they'll do well in the league this season. And about Alex Ravel, I think they've got someone who they need to keep and let him breed his culture and let him breed his style of football, because I was very impressed at times with Stevenage.
An exhausting schedule. There's another game obviously to throw in soon with the third round tie coming up, but Sunderland away on Saturday looks to be a hugely tasty one, and one that the fans, who again were excellent tonight, can look forward to.
Yeah, and being able to rest Gareth McCleary, Sam Vokes, some of the experienced boys in the first team at the moment, I don't like calling it that, but that team in the league at the moment has been really important, and I think that's key to what we're doing. Josh Scow and of course Curtis Thompson, not involved tonight, and Grimmer and people like that. So yeah, just nice to be able to get through, but also nice to rest some of those boys, because Saturday will be a huge game up at Sunderland, and we're under no illusion what we're going to have to do this year against some of the top teams to be in and around it. But tonight's a great night, a lot of experience gained for us, and a win which came at a real struggle sometimes, but we got through somehow, and we're in the next round.
So Gareth was talking about how Tjay would be in the Gibraltar press, which does sound like a football formation that Gareth might actually be using in future games. We were doing a little bit of surfing on the internet, and we came across the GBC, which I assume stands for the Gibraltar Broadcasting Company. They had a show on yesterday called Sports Report, and Gareth absolutely was right, because Tjay de Barr was featured in a report on the GBC.
Gibraltar international Tjay de Barr's career at Wycombe Wanderers got off to the best possible start. The youngster, who signed for the Chairboys a few weeks ago, came off the bench against Stevenage in the EFL Cup last night to score a late equaliser, as well as the winning penalty to put his new club through to the next round. And this was his reaction.
Buzzing. Just very happy for being able to come on, given the opportunity to just play football, which I love doing, and I'm grateful and humbled for the manager being able to just give me that opportunity, which I've been waiting for and fighting for a long time.
What did he say to you when you came on? Because it was a difficult game to come on to, wasn't it? Stevenage were getting on top. We'd had a few players maybe out of position or a little inexperience in the team, and it was a tough role for you to come on. But what did he say to you?
Just to play my game. Obviously, we all know what we need to do before coming on. So he just said stick to the game plan and just be energetic, and that's it.
As a striker, you must dream about crosses like the one from Daryl Horgan. What do you remember about the goal?
It was a beautiful cross. It was laid on a plate for myself, so he did the hard bit and I think I did the easy bit, but I'm grateful obviously for his assist, because it was a wonderful ball.
And obviously being able to score in front of the fans and to celebrate that was incredible, but I guess you had to keep a level head because there was still a couple of minutes to go in the game and still penalties. That wasn't the winner, was it? But those celebrations were special.
Yeah, I think I let my emotions run through me, and my celebration was just pure passion, I'd say, because I'm very happy for the goal, and obviously doing it in front of the away fans. I'm also very thankful for them for travelling, so I'm happy for that.
With the penalties, did you volunteer yourself to take one, or did the manager have to come and talk you into it?
No, he was just calling out numbers, so I happened to be the fifth number, and that's it.
And I guess you became apparent that when you were stepping up, if this one goes in, you're going to be, the hero of the night again for a second time. But did any nerves get on top of you, or were you feeling quite calm?
Quite calm, I'd say. Manager did say just focus on where you're going to shoot, put your foot through it, and if it doesn't go in, it doesn't go in. It's not meant to be, but I'm very happy it did, so I'm grateful. And again, I just want to say thank you to all the Wycombe fans that travelled away. So
tell us a little bit more about how the move came about, because the manager, has acknowledged we don't sign many Gibraltarian internationals, and I think there's only been one that's played for Wycombe previously, but a connection with an agent that he knows, and before you know it, you're at Wycombe and playing nights like tonight.
Yeah, literally that, a connection with the agent, and playing for the international team obviously is a big hope. Coming from Gibraltar, it's very hard to make it abroad, or very hard to get seen. You're almost like overlooked. Obviously it's tiny Gibraltar, but I'm just happy to be here. I'm grateful to be here. I'm humble, and I'm just enjoying the journey, because it's a beautiful journey that I'm living.
The manager's just told us there's a nickname for you already within the squad. Do you know about this one?
Tevez, maybe.
Tevez, yeah. How's that gone down? You pleased with that one?
I don't mind. Tevez is a good player, so yeah, they just call me Tevez, I think, because I'm small and I get in and out, so I don't know. Yeah.
Well, he had a phenomenal record in England, and you started brilliantly tonight. Tjay, well done, and on to Sunderland.
Thank you very much. On to Sunderland. Hoping to pick up on the performance, because I think we do need to pick up from that performance, but another win, and that's important. Obviously winning habits is important, so we just got to carry on.
Really great to hear from Tjay, who speaks very well.
He does speak very well. And I love the fact that at the end he actually almost sounded like he turned into the manager. It's like, he's already got aspirations to be the next Gareth Ainsworth.
Definitely, and something a bit new for the club. Bob mentioned the
Wycombe Wanderers worldwide phenomenon.
More on that in a few moments' time. But Alicia from the club, who is pretty decent with the languages herself, conducted an interview in Spanish as well.
Tjay, una noche increíble para ti. ¿Cómo te sientes?
Muy contento con la victoria, muy contento con el partido por poder construir una parte de los 90 y algo minutos y nada, muy contento por la victoria y eso, muy contento ya.
It's like being on holiday, isn't it?
So come on, you can speak a bit of Spanish. So what was he saying? What was the Victoria bit? Because he says Victoria in there, and it's like, well, who's that?
Victoria, but that's like the win, the victory.
Oh, I see.
And he's very content, so very happy.
Good at Spanish.
I don't know about that. But also, you've managed to find some fantastic goal commentary.
So as part of the Wycombe Wanderers worldwide phenomenon, which does now have its own Twitter feed, so they've put on some Spanish commentary of the whole Stevenage game. But we particularly liked the commentary that went with Bayo's goal on Tuesday night.
Bienvenidos al resumen de la segunda ronda en la Carabao Cup. Soy Chavagames y en esta ocasión Wycombe Wanderers visita el Stevenage en el Amex Stadium. Corría el minuto 23 del partido, Tjay le pega de lejos, balón para Quinfengua, controla, dispara y llegó el primero. La leyenda de Wycombe Wanderers pone en ventaja a su equipo y en las gradas el grito de Beast, Beast retumba en el estadio.
You'll definitely be hearing beast.
We need more of that. Phil Catchpole, if you're listening, we need you when Bo scores to start saying beast, beast.
And we'll be continuing our worldwide phenomenon in a few moments' time, chatting to Michael in Denver. Plus, we'll catch up with Colin Bunting, who's in Hazelmere.
Racing pigeons, but used to be a Wycombe Wanderers player.
On the Wycombe Wanderers Show here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll bring you news of a new signing, which you may have missed. That happened a little earlier on, didn't it?
It did indeed, yes. We'll talk a bit about the drummer controversy as well, which has been brewing on Facebook during the week. I'm impressed that you're even playing the jingles and the adverts that have foreign words in them as well. It's very much the international version of the Wycombe Wanderers Show today. The Dolce Viva or something.
Isn't that a cheese?
I'm not quite sure. I like the bit of Nessun Dorma in the background, but only from a 1990 World Cup point of view.
If you've just tuned in and missed that bit, then you won't know.
Sorry if you're listening on the podcast.
Yeah, also that won't make any sense to you either. First, though...
That's why you should be listening live on 106.6 FM or online. Because you get the whole thing then.
But what we're
I'll stop making Colin laugh.
Yes. That too, though, it's a good tip. You sound slightly teacherish when you say that as well. What you should be doing is listening live on a Thursday from 7. Meanwhile, you might know that a few years ago, a Wycombe Wanderers anthem was reworked. Here's a burst of it.
We all sing Chairboys forever.
It's quite catchy. It rather sticks in your head.
That's what it means to be Wycombe strong.
So Michael, who is in Denver, Colorado, America.
I like the way that you and I were both sort of like swaying.
Yes.
A bit like sort of like 1970s Top of the Pops.
It was very much
That's
like
what
that.
it was like, wasn't it?
Yeah. Michael joins us now. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's the sound?
Yeah, very, very good.
Hello, Michael.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, really good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, no problem at all.
So Michael got in touch with us, basically sort of congratulating us that we were back for Season 2, now Episode 4 of Season 2. And it kind of grew into kind of, he's in Denver, Colorado, USA, and a Wycombe fan as well. And it turns out that this anthem, first of all, tell us about how your Wycombe Wanderers connection came about. How did you started following the club?
We'll try and be as brief as possible if I can be. But as a kid, I was a Birmingham fan for my sins. And that just came about because my brother and I were watching a game. He picked the red team, I picked the blue team. He got Liverpool, I got Birmingham.
Oh.
But, as luck would have it. But, over the years, I never really was able to get up there. So it's more a case of following them in a newspaper and whatnot, And by the time I moved to America in 2000, when I was 21, I didn't really have any memories or connection to them. It was just kind of like a childish obsession that didn't really have a lasting connection. So over the years here, I kind of became a neutral, would watch the Premier League as it became available here. But I always kind of wanted to connect to a club properly. I never really felt like I'd been a real Birmingham fan. And I was kind of fascinated by the fan-owned teams. And finally, a few years ago in 2017, I'm like, you know what? And I said to my wife, let's just buy into the trust of one of these fan-owned teams. So we have like a following interest. And so it was between like Exeter, Wimbledon and Wycombe. And Exeter, that was going to be too far away. I grew up in Hertfordshire, and when we come over, we visit Hertfordshire. So it was kind of going to be a head-to-head between Wycombe and Wimbledon. And as soon as I started reading up on Wycombe properly, I was just like, this is an amazing club. How have I never heard of this club before? Like everything from, the stadium being in the Chilterns, we won't mention the industrial estate, but the stadium being in the Chilterns, where we used to go for walks as a family when I was a kid, lots of fond memories of the Chilterns and the family atmosphere. I guess they won Family Club of the Year in the past. Just, the culture around Gareth Ainsworth and the team. Every single thing I read up was like, this just sounds like a fantastic community club. So I called my wife from work and said, we're going to buy into the trust at Wycombe Wanderers so that we have a team to follow. And we also got very lucky because at that point there was no iFollow. This was February 2017. And as luck would have it, iFollow started that summer after that. But anyway, I get home, I'm in this fit of enthusiasm. I love songwriting, and I just started writing a song. And it's a bit presumptuous because I still knew barely anything about the club. And I'm like, I'm going to just write a song because I'm so happy about this. So I started writing a song. Obviously, it's quite generic because I didn't have this long memory bank of Torquay and Wimbledon and Leicester and so forth. So it's more a generic, come on down to Wycombe and have a good time. We're a great club. So I had it mostly done. I'm like, you know what? They're a club that's fan-owned. Maybe if I just write them, they'll be interested in it as an anthem. So I wrote Trevor Stroud off the Trust site, and he agreed to listen to it. He did have a listen. A couple of weeks later, he said it's not really kind of rock and roll enough, which is fair enough. I mean, that original version was just a kind of acoustic guitar and tambourine. It was like Ye Old Merry Minstrels of Sherwood Forest. It wasn't really something you play at a stadium per se. But so they weren't really interested in adopting it. I stuck it on the gas room, the fan forum, and a bunch of lads on there liked it, hopefully ladies too. And they suggested sending it to the media team, which is probably what I should have done originally. And they went ahead and played it at a match against Notts County, which was very, very nice of them, considering it wasn't really, no drums, no fanfare or whatever. So very pleased about that. Got this shirt I'm wearing right now, just avidly started following their results. And then iFollow came up that summer. And so I just was able to start following the club and watch every game. And, it was an amazing year because I found out I was losing my job of 16 years, either the day before or the day after that first iFollow game. So over the course of that first season, when we got promoted from League Two, I was watching from like hotel rooms because we moved from Vegas to Denver. I was watching from all these different like situations. A couple of games I missed, I was like on the road in Utah following the score on my phone. So it was this very dramatic season overlapping on a very dramatic life change. In the midst of it, my wife fell pregnant as well. So we, had our daughter at the end of the season. But it was just a very intense, wonderful opening season to following the club. And that spring of 2018, I decided to redo it because I'm like, this needs drums, it needs strings, it needs brass, it needs to sound like a fanfare. So I went to a studio here in Denver and added all of that and made it sound a lot more like an anthem, basically. And then it was played again at the Party in the Park when we were there. Our first Wycombe game we went to was the Stevenage Party in the Park because obviously we're Glory supporters. So, and they played it. My heavily pregnant wife was there, my best friend, my dad, and we're meeting some of these guys off the gas room that, I post online on their forum, and it was just a wonderful day. And really appreciated the club just turned the volume way up. I don't think anyone noticed because the terrace was going mental and everyone was doing their own thing. But for me, it's kind of an out-of-body experience to hear that live at Adams Park. And then they played it again a few more times, a couple of times even without anyone I know requesting it. Because when you request the song to be played, like I did, it's kind of like, your kid gives you a picture and you hang it on the refrigerator, but you're not really thinking it's Picasso, But when they play it of their own volition, it's a lot more flattering. So yeah, that's basically how it all came about.
That must have been so nice for you to actually come over and sort of feel closer to the team that you've kind of picked and followed as well.
Oh yeah, and it's opened doors to many things. I mean, open door for writing for the fanzine, to Wanderer, because the fanzine editor, Johnny King, asked me to write about the song. And then after I'd written about it in a fanzine, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I start writing like the satirical stuff as well? Because I like doing that. And, I've written for the fanzine ever since. And that's had some moments, my wife and I, we decided to do one where we go to Las Vegas Strip when we were still there with a Wycombe shirt, and we just collar Americans and ask them questions about Wycombe, like, how do you spell Wycombe? What do you think Wycombe is? And all this. And it was quite hilarious. I mean, we had like women dressed as showgirls, holding up the Wycombe shirt and answering questions. I think the funniest answer we had was someone thought it was like a witch's coven because it sounded like Wycombe. So we can kind of compile all those with photos and kind of send it into the fanzine. But I've had a lot of fun with that. And Johnny King, the editor, is just a great guy. And then, I've made friends because of it. David Alderman, who I think sometimes writes the show to you guys, he really liked the song. And we struck up a friendship. We met at the Walsall game at the end of the following season, the first League One season. And we're, he's a dear friend now. We write back and forth all the time about Wycombe. He's a great numbers guy, and I love numbers too. So we'll be breaking down everything. And, I've got to meet people off the gas room. I've got to meet Phil Catchpole, who to me is an absolute legend. I mean, I can't say enough about Phil. Yeah. I mean, because obviously I watch almost all of them on iFollow, and at least a couple of times a game he says something so wry and funny and original that my wife and I just burst out laughing. He's just a treasure. Got to meet Tony Hector on the Trust board. He's a lovely gent as well. Yeah, it's kind of opened all these doors. And considering I live thousands of miles away, it says a lot about the club that you can feel that connected. I know we have the internet. I know with modern technology it's easier, but I genuinely feel very connected to the club, despite living in what is basically a lonely Wycombe outpost. So. I
think what's lovely as well is that you clearly get exactly what the club's about, and it's lovely for us to hear who know what the club's about. But we're in Wycombe, so we would that does then translate thousands of miles across the ocean. That you can tell actually that we are Wycombe Wanderers. We do it differently, and we are quite unique actually in English football.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at it like this, I was in an unusual position of being a grown man who could basically pick my own club. Most people, you get your attachment as a kid and it's vital enough, and you go to games, and there's no way you can kind of ever countenance the idea of leaving that. I mean, there's people that kind of, two allegiances because they follow a Premier League club and Wycombe, but I was in a position where I could basically pick any club on earth. And I haven't regretted for a moment picking Wycombe over Real Madrid or Dortmund or Liverpool or QPR or anybody, because there's no way you could have more fun than I've had over these past 5 years with any of that lot. It really is the greatest club. And I'm amazed whenever I hear insults of Wycombe from other teams and their fans. I get it as far as kind of the gamesmanship or game management, but everybody does that. But I'm kind of amazed no one really gets that, or very few people seem to really get what an amazing club it is. I think the players do. I'm sure the club has a good reputation among players in that kind of union. But when you hear opposition fans getting bitter about what a nasty little club Wycombe is or something, I'm blown away. I'm like, well, I was someone that could choose any club on earth. I chose Wycombe, and I haven't regretted it for a moment. And to me, that was a unique position to be in, and it kind of says it all. And you think of the things that make us unique. Whether it's the volunteers, whether it's the trust that's still involved in the ownership. I mean, this golden era is really, to me, most of all based on Ainsworth and Dobson, because most golden eras kind of align with a management team. But it's kind of, it could have run out if it wasn't for the Couigs coming on board and being as passionate as they've been. We were getting to where we had no money left and we're in severe trouble. So now this golden era has kind of been extended. But you look at the content we have. There's you on Wycombe Sound. There's other podcasts. There's Tom Hancock with JJ's Left Foot, and obviously Phil Catchpole as the broadcaster. There's just so many aspects to the club that feel really special and unique. And it feels like when I'm talking to people that aren't a Wycombe fan, it feels like I'm saying, no, we're really special. We're not just special in the way you kind of give lip service to your club. We're really, really special. But there's so many things you can reference that show that. And obviously, the players. And, I mentioned Ainsworth, and the thing about Ainsworth and the players is I'm fundamentally most proud of them because of their character and how they represent the club in their attitude. You know, I know that when Ainsworth does an interview, he's not going to gripe, he's not going to moan, he's not going to throw his players under the bus or whine about the other team's tactics. He's going to be dignified and complimentary and, you know, positive. And there's not that many managers like that, and there's not that many players like the characters that come through our doors. And you think we have, you know, Bloomfield and JJ and Bio and the lads that have been around forever, and then the new lads that come in just seem to integrate into that. And it's just something to be proud of, irrespective of the results. You know, we've had promotion seasons, and we had a very difficult season last year, but there's always that baseline of being proud of the way they hold themselves and represent themselves.
Well, it's been fantastic to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time. Brilliant to hear your story. Thank you so much, obviously, for listening to our show as well, all those miles away, and enjoy the rest of the season.
You too, guys. Thanks so much. I'll be listening.
Thanks a lot for your time, Michael, in Denver, Colorado.
Fantastic. I really like the fact as well that he's referring to it as a golden era. And when you hear someone say that, you think, well, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
With a gold third shirt as well.
Indeed.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on what we like to call the final part of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. This is literally the last bit.
It is, yes. Extra time as we think of it.
We'll be chatting about a new signing who's arrived, well, I suppose, at the club.
You would hope so, yes. Brandon Hanlon from Bristol Rovers has joined today.
Other sort of notice board news, a call up for Darryl Horgan. We'll be addressing that shortly.
Oh yes, indeed.
International Week, of course.
Yeah, it is, yes. As you can tell on this programme today.
Yes, literally. And first, we'll be hearing from another of our fantastic series, thanks to the Ex-Players Association, Alan Hutchinson and JDT as well. We've had a bit of a theme in recent weeks of players from the sort of the 60s, late 50s, early 60s, mid-60s, sort of the Sid Can era, and other managers as well. And Colin Bunting is our latest guest, a goalkeeper. Well, former goalkeeper, I suppose you did, Grammars.
I think you're probably always a goalkeeper. I don't think you ever consider yourself a former goalkeeper.
Who, as you'll hear, has a keen interest in pigeons and also has some brilliant stories to tell, including when he first joined the club.
I joined Wycombe in 1955. 18 years old. I was playing for Broome and Wades at the time, and I just carried on playing at Wycombe and playing for Broome and Wades at the time. I had a few reserve team games then, and then I got called up for national service then. That didn't help. I went in January 1958, and I was in the RAMC. And I played a lot of games for number 10 company RAMC while I was in the Army. I was also played for Folkestone Town in the Kent League, but mostly midweek games then, because I was usually on duty on Saturdays, so I couldn't play Saturdays very often. On the mob then, in 1958, I rejoined Wycombe and playing the odd first team game, mostly in the reserves to start with. And then in late January, Wycombe played, in January 58, Wycombe played Hounslow Town in the Amateur Cup. And Hounslow's goalkeeper broke his leg in the game. And Wycombe offered to loan me to Hounslow, which I jumped at, sort of thing, because it was my first real chance of playing first team regular senior and non-league football. I went there then, and I played my first game was against Finchley Town in the Athenian League. That was in them days. The Athenian League was a similar level as the Isthmian League at the time, but was known as being a bit of bruisers rather than football inside. But they were strong teams in the league. I played very well on that occasion against Finchley, and Hounslow asked if Wycombe would let them keep me for the rest of the season, which I personally agreed to, and Wycombe agreed to as well. So I then decided that would be to my advantage to stay at Hounslow to get first 11 experience. I stayed there from 1958-59, 59-60, 60-61 seasons. And I played about, I'm not sure exactly, about 80 games, I think. Then I got dropped in January 1962. I lost my place, and I rejoined Wycombe for the 1962-63 season, 63-64 season. I played in the first team at Wycombe then for most of those 2 seasons until the arrival of John Maskell. And in 1964 that was. I stayed at Wycombe until 1969 when Wycombe dropped the reserve side. I think that was when Brian Lee came to the club. He dropped the reserve side. And I played approximately, again, about 80 games, first 11 games for Wycombe. Plenty of reserve games, because I played after I got dropped. I stayed at Wycombe, as I say, till 1969, and I played mostly in the reserves then. The biggest and best games that I played for Wycombe was Gravesend and Northfleet away in the FA Cup second round. We lost that game. I had a blinder in that game. And another good game that I can remember at the moment was Spennymoor in the FA Cup, FA Amateur Cup. That was the third round. We lost 2-1 away following a 2-2 draw at Lokes Park. And the attendance in the replay at Spennymoor was 4,902 people there. Yeah, that was for them. And they were only a relatively small northern side. The game at Spennymoor was quite intriguing, really, because we had to travel up overnight by train. And when we got there, the ground was it built on an old slag heap, the ground, and all corrugated tins round it, and all rusty it was round the ground. And after the game, we had a bath, we didn't have showers then, we had baths. And the bath was inside there, and these tins came down on the outside, and they were all rusty at the bottom. You were seeing from the bottom, and the girls got down cheering us all in the bath there we were. That was quite funny, that was. But that was a good game. And the Gravesend game was a good game. After I left Wycombe in 1969, I joined Ernest Turner Sports. That was a local work side, playing in the Hellenic League. And there was 9 former Wycombe players playing for them when we went up there, so you could almost say it was a Wycombe side playing. Paul Bates was manager as well up there for a while, and that was quite good up Turners, but then that all folded after 6 seasons. The governor of Ernest Turner Sports sold the ground and they built on it as it is now. We won the Hellenic League Cup, and the runners-up with the Premier League whilst I was there. I then decided I'd had enough then and retired from the game for a couple of seasons. And then I was approached by a former Wycombe player that I'd played with at Wycombe, Butch Ridgely, to come and play for Molins Sports Football Club. That was another work side. I played at Molins for approximately 7 seasons, along with Keith Samuels, who also played for him, and a couple of other players that had been at Wycombe. Great club over at Molins it was, and socially you couldn't have wished for a better club over there. We had a really good time over there. We won the Wycombe League twice and the Wycombe Senior Cup once while I was there at the club. And it was a very enjoyable time of my football career. And Keith Samuels will say the same if you asked him, because he thoroughly enjoyed it over there. I then permanently retired in 1982 at the age of 45. On the day I retired, we won the Wycombe League Reserve Section Cup. It was my last game of football I'd ever played. That was maybe some odd games from work on six-a-side things. From then on, I concentrated on helping my son Trevor. I don't know if you've heard anything about Trevor or not.
Yes.
He had just been picked up at the time by Southampton Football Club. When he had 4 years on associate schoolboys forms before being released. Another goalkeeper, you probably know that then.
Yes.
You do know of him. He was picked up by Wycombe under managers Mike Keane and Paul Bence, where he was understudy to Gary Lester for 3 years. He then had the short period with Slough Town on loan. He played 12 games for them. Later in the season, Slough goalkeeper then had an injury, and Slough had a big FA Cup game coming up against Swansea City. They approached Wycombe to sign Trevor on permanent forms, and much to Wycombe's disappointment, he went, playing in the Swansea game. He was man of the match, playing a real blinder at the age of 18 years old. He then went on to play 415 games for Slough Town First 11 in 10 years service, mostly all being played in the Conference League, which is now the National League, Premier Sections. Now part-time goalkeeping coach at Fab Academy, Bisham, with full FA goalkeeping qualifications. I played other sports as well. At school level, I played for basketball for Wycombe Pirates when I first left school. Played for Million Road School and then the Wycombe and District Schools in 1951-52, that was, both those. That's when I joined Wycombe. A lot of table tennis, played a lot of table tennis in the Wycombe and District League in Divisions 1, 2 and 3. Never quite good enough to stay in the Premier for too long. We went up to the Premier, but always seemed to get relegated at the end of the following season. And I don't know if you also know, I used to keep racing pigeons.
I was going to say, I've had a bit of a tip-off to ask you about that.
Yes, yeah, I kept racing pigeons from 1952 till about 2018. I've still got 4 here now, but I don't race now. I've given that up, more or less. I was secretary and treasurer for 21 years at the Castlefield Club. So I don't do that now.
What got you into that?
I don't really know, to be honest. When we were at school, there was 4 of us used to have pigeons. They used to have pigeons and used to take them up the road and just release them and time them back. See which ones beat which ones, just for the fun of it, sort of thing. And then my dad got interested in it a little bit, and he encouraged me with it, and I joined the club then. From that time on, stayed with it. I mean, it got mixed up with the football sometimes, you know. And my dad always used to carry it out for me while I was playing football, but we still kept going all that long time with it, and it's only since 2018 I packed up.
No, that's brilliant. So what first got you into goalkeeping? How did you choose that as a position?
Just a mad idiot, I think. Fool, I think. I used to just go in goal. We used to go over the Desborough Rec and play of an evening sort of thing, stick the coach down, I want to go in goal sort of thing. And that sort of attitude, and that's how I played in goal. So really, I played golf, you know that.
Yes.
Yes, and played golf with the 6 of the lads, some of them I played with, some of them I didn't play at Wycombe, all at Wycombe, 6 of us. There was 7 because Tony Horseman used to play, but he's not playing now, he gave it up. So I don't see him now, so not quite so often. And I played cricket for Bledlow for a while, and Harrison's, we had a works team that used to play in the local cricket tournament, a Smeaton Hanscom Cup. We won that twice as well, playing for Harrison. So the whole of the family are very keen sports people. I've got my 2 daughters both played for Southern England in netball.
I was going to say, they're not goalkeepers as well, are they?
No, they're not. They might have got netball.
Yeah, there's a goalkeeping position, isn't there?
My wife played netball as well, and now I've got a granddaughter, a completely different sport to what we've ever did. She's into rowing.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and she's got into a good side. They won the English Schools Under-18 Championships about a month ago, that was, and they went on to Henley last week, and they won the Under-18 Junior Ladies race down there at Henley. That's for Headington School she rose for.
Oh, you must have very good genes, or sort of winning in the blood, sports person in the blood.
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. And just going back to your time at Wycombe, it must have felt such a special time, because during the 60s and the late 50s when you were playing, especially in the reserve team even as well, it must have been such a great sort of camaraderie amongst all the players.
Very much so, yeah. A lot of the top players that I remember were really good. Johnny Beck, he was one. George Pullen. Lenny Worley, obviously, I expect you've spoken to him.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and Paul Hodges, he was another amateur English international. Peter Royston, he's another one. It's a job to remember them all offhand.
No, of course, because it must feel like such a long time ago, but at the same time not that long ago as well.
That's right, yes, yeah. I mean, I played till I was 45, which doesn't seem to me that long ago, but it wasn't with Wycombe at the time then.
And again, with the Ex-Players Association, it must be so enjoyable to be able to, as you say, play golf and just to reminisce with the other ex-players as well.
Yeah, it's a great evening, the dinner down there. You can meet everybody there. But obviously, COVID business, we've not had one for 2 years. We had the golf day, though, this year, and that was nice to go down there and meet up with a lot of them at the golf day again. But hopefully we'll get the dinner on again this year. Dennis Sirrett taught me all or no, I think, originally. I used to train with him a lot. He's a great guy, he is. I still see him occasionally. He still gets around a bit. He comes to the dinners, but I still see him occasionally because he lives up at Loseley Road. My daughter lives up there, so I see him occasionally up there.
Really great to chat to Colin Bunting. He didn't quite catch my name, so I said it's Colin as well. So he said Colin as well.
I very much enjoyed the pigeons bit.
No, definitely, that was a highlight.
Yeah.
If only more ex-players got into pigeon racing.
I think, indeed, I think this is the way to go. They shouldn't be into this golf and horse racing and whatever Michael Owen does. Pigeon racing is definitely the way to go. We promised, even though we've only got about 2 minutes, to mention about our new signing today. Brandon Hanlon, who has been signed from Bristol Rovers, comes along on an undisclosed fee, but we signed him for 3 seasons, so that's hopeful. And have been tracking him apparently for a long time, since he played for Colchester, and we know how well Gareth and Dobbo track players and make sure that actually, they do the whole CIA type thing before we sign them. So looking forward to seeing Brandon. Congratulations as well to Daryl Horgan, who has been once again called up for the Republic of Ireland squad in the forthcoming internationals, which of course take place then next week. This is the last weekend of Premier League and Championship football before the international break, but of course that doesn't apply to us now that we're in League One. Which in some ways I think is a good thing. And I also wanted to mention about the drummer as well. Lots and lots of controversy this week on Facebook, all about the Thomas, the Wycombe Wanderers drummer. I've not seen such controversy since Pete Best was kicked out of the Beatles and replaced by Ringo Starr. And as I said earlier on this season, when burgers were the main controversy on the Facebook group, you do have to think, if all we've currently got to worry about is the drummer, then actually something is going very, very right.
Also, I must say a quick hello to you if you're listening in quite a posh car. Luke, our producer, who's off this week, said he was in Marlow recently, and a very posh car, which I won't mention the make of, but had its window down, and you could hear they were listening to us on the podcast.
That's pretty good. And we haven't really mentioned the fact that we've drawn Manchester City in the Carabao Cup either.
Good point.
And they're obviously so worried that they're trying to sign Cristiano Ronaldo just to make sure that actually they get past us, which is great.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to.
It really is, isn't it? We'll have to obviously clearly be at our absolute ridiculous best to beat them, but Wigan did it a few seasons ago against them in the FA Cup,
especially in an unbeaten away record in 90 minutes.
You never know, do you? But it'll be a good evening out at the Etihad, and as soon as we know the date as well, we will let you know on Wycombe Sound when it's going to be played.
Thank you very much indeed for listening. Same time next week.